What's up, everyone? Episode 29 of the 300 Club podcast. My name is Gil. This is Kelvin. And we got a lot to cover here. This is the episode, the Soto Shuffle. We finally got our answers. We finally know what the team he's landed on. If you've seen this, you already know the news is already spreading out in New York City. I did have a prediction he would stay in New York, and he came to my team. Juan Soto signed a 15-year deal to the Mets, and those are my thoughts so far. What are yours so far to start?
Nah, I'm just glad that we had answers, man. Your smile seems a little bit brighter, a lot more cheesy. It's a different glow to you right now. I'm surprised you don't have the Yankee hat. Excuse me. I'm surprised you don't have the Mets hat right now.
Nah, yeah, we will be active. We'll be active when the
It'll
season
be
comes
active.
around.
No, but I mean, it's always a good thing once I was excited for the winter meetings entirely.
Yeah,
The winter meetings is something I tell my girlfriend this all the time. The winter meetings is always something I look forward to every year because it makes me put on my GM hat on and see where things fall, trade rumors, GM contracts, everything, all the whole shebang. So I love the winter meetings. I'm glad that we finally got some answers. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but it could be a silver lining, and that's what I want to go ahead and talk about too. Is that even though we were not able to retain Juan Soto, it could be a good thing. Who knows? And we just want to go ahead and dive into it. So I'm gonna go ahead, share my screen a little bit. But nonetheless, man, first impressions when you found out the news, where were you? What were you doing? How
hey
did you hear about
man,
the news? Like tell me about it from a genuine Mets perspective. When the news broke, tell me about it, dude. How that made you feel?
I was home. I was watching the next game. I got the text message. I'm like, oh snap! I got
Well,
the
before
Bleacher
that,
Report
before that, hours leading up to it, there were
hours
rumors saying that
leading
the
up to
decision
it.
was imminent. What were your feelings leading up to the decision?
I mean, I didn't like get to move by it because they kind of been alluding that like over the last several days, like oh, it's coming anytime soon. So I was like, when it happens, it happens. I'm sure it'll be a tremendous offer and contract details and newsworthy coverage. But it just happened. I was home, like I said, watching the Knicks game. I see Bleacher Report notification. I see John Heyman post. I see Jeff Passan post, and I'm like, oh snap! And I screamed out of joy. I'm like, oh shit! But that's because again, like as a Met fan, for those that are watching, if you guys are Met fans, like this is a monumental shift into our organization. Like we've never had such a big signing of a free agent this young into his prime, long term to build around. Like we haven't had that. If we ever had superstars or stars in the past, they were either on the back tail of their prime or semi-washed. But I'm excited. I'm happy to see him pair up with Lindor. I'm excited to see his energy with the rest of the clubhouse and the vibes of the team and carry over from last year. I'm just excited, man, and seeing his face, his jersey, the signing. He was good in the pinstripes too in this shot. You know what I mean? So I'm happy. I like the colors and let's go Soto, man. That's all I can say for now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a huge monumental signing for the Mets. I think it was a statement signing, signing somebody of his caliber, but also taking him away from the Yankees. It just, I mean, it's adding to the rivalry that it is Yankees and Mets, and I feel like
Yeah.
this was a win for the organization, for the culture, um, and I mean, so leading up to the signing. So days before, at that point, I think I just going exhausted. I'm like, man, I just want to know already, because
Yeah.
it was radio silent. We didn't get no indications. And there's one thing that I learned from the Yamamoto sweepstakes last year is that a lot of reporters don't know they don't know squat, bro. They can write anything, they can say anything, and it doesn't mean anything. The only
They're trying
person
to
that
land,
actually
bro. They're
knows,
trying to be the first one to cover it.
yeah.
They
And it's like
land.
the only person that knows is the player and the agent, and that's it. That's the only
Yeah.
people that know. So
Yeah.
up until that point, I didn't feel optimistic because like there were some reports leading up to it that Judge hasn't spoken to him. I just felt like that was a little bit off because it's like, at the end of the day, if you are the captain of the team, I do expect you to have some dialogue on the players that you want to recruit. Like a LeBron James, he recruits the players that he wants to play with. Um, so leading up to the signing, I wasn't that optimistic, to be honest with you. And I began to think a little bit like, all right, well, what if he doesn't sign? I had the whole year to think about Juan Soto signing with the Yankees. I didn't really thought about him not signing with us. I didn't really think about that possibility up until the very end. And then boom, I was watching the Robbie Hyde podcast, late night evening. Um, the night that it broke, it was late night. I was getting ready for bed. I was feeling under the weather. I was watching the Robbie Hyde, and I learned it from him. He reacted instantly. Juan Soto to the Mets, and I saw the notifications. John Heyman, Jeff Passan, and I was like, oh, it's official. So you started looking at the details. Everything started pouring in. I think at that point I was refreshing my Twitter feed every second or so, and I wanted to know the details about the deal, and we're gonna dive into that right now. So, first reactions, oh, that sucked. But then, as you know, I applied Drake's 72-hour rule to a lot of things in my life, on my personal life, and on a social aspect. The 72-hour rule is that when something happens, don't react to it right away. You let it sit for 72 hours. That gives you 3 days to actually sit and think about it, and then right there you can express your emotions. So, it's now day three. I was able to gauge a lot of the information from the media, from Juan Soto himself. He had his press conference today. Wanted to share this photo. I just thought it was a dope photo. Like it's a guy signing the massive contract, like right there, pen on paper, and he looks good in the orange and blue. I'm not gonna lie, like it goes with him. So um, after digesting everything, I will say, as a Yankee fan, I felt like he played his cards right the entire year. And I
Absolutely.
and I feel like it was the I feel like it was in the expense of us Yankee fans because at the end of the day we're the ones that ended up heartbroken. I feel as though he already knew. So we're gonna dive into it, right? Before I move on to another Juan Soto topic, is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of the reaction of when
No,
we found out the
I
news?
want to deep dive on your point that you're about to bring up right now.
Okay,
Hmm.
so we start looking at the contracts, right? So it looks as though there was a approximately $4 million difference. The average value for the Mets side was $51 million a year. The Yankees were 47 and a half, so about $4 to $5 million difference.
Hmm.
And more reports are coming out about the suites and the security guard. And let me just say this, bro. I'm gonna just say this. I think that whole suite stuff is garbage.
You think
I,
so?
I think it's all garbage, bro. I think the security guard and the suite and all that stuff. I think it was all a whole bunch of garbage. I think that was just people trying to reach to find out reasons as to why he wanted to leave the Yankees to go to the Mets. He just wanted to be in the Mets, bro, and that's okay to say that. I think that he used the Yankees this year as leverage to get the bidding up as high as possible. It just so happens that both teams really, really needed a player like him, left-handed, generational talent, great bat. And I think that he knew exactly what he wanted to do. If you play, I look at it like this. I knew he wasn't going to come back after you spend the whole year with the franchise, an entire year. That every year, day in and day out, the franchise is telling you everything that you want to do. Like the franchise is giving it all to you. The red carpet the entire season. And there's something in that season throughout the season that's telling you, nah, I don't want to come back here, bro. I just feel like there was something at some point that he said, I don't want to be here. I feel like his mind was made up a long time ago. I feel like he used the Yankees as leverage, as he should. I feel like it's not just him. I feel like a lot of players tend to do that, which is perfectly fine. I think that he already knew the team that he wanted to go to. I think that seeing the Mets have the year that they had, the amount of fun that they had, the amount of Hispanics that they have on that team as well. I think that was the huge factor. I think that team being full of Hispanics is a major factor more than the Sweets were, to be honest. I think that a combination of a lot of things. I mean, look at what the Yankees did this year. We were flawed. Yes, we made the World Series, but we were flawed. And I think it doesn't just take a Juan Soto to see that. It takes us as fans seeing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We saw that. We saw those flaws. So all in all, bro, I feel like he made his decision a long time ago that listen, if the Yankees are gonna pay me the most, I'll go back to them. But anything else, I'd rather go to wherever the money's gonna pay me the most. And if it just so happens to the Mets, I'm down for that too. And that's okay, dude. Like, wouldn't you do that? If a job was paying you 100K a year versus your job now, wouldn't you take that? Like, it's
I,
life.
I just feel like a lot of the attachment and a lot of it is coming from Yankee fans, of course, considering their star player just decided to walk away after trading so much for him. Um, at the end of the day, like you gotta play some issues. Like you come from nothing, you come from a third world country, you already got a championship in your second season in the MLB. You get a massive offer extension by the Nationals. You decline it. I think it was about 450 million. You decline it. They know they can't keep you. They trade you to the Padres, so the lower the super team. They can't afford to pay you because they are already paying other star players. So you ask for a trade again to go to the Yankees on a 1 year on a 1 year deal essentially because that's what was left in the rookie contract. You sign an arbitration. and then you leave. And it's like I get it. Like he could have stayed, but at the end of the day, he got to make the best decision for him. Yeah, is the finances a factor? Absolutely. I don't blame him for taking the most money possible, but I think there's other factors on top of the money. Like if the contract offers are not too far apart in terms of ABV and years and whatnot, I think there's other factors and other layers. Like maybe the stories are not fully accurate as to what happened this year, but I think there's something. You mentioned maybe he made up his mind early in the season. I can't tell you that, but you as a Yankee fan, you feel like that there probably was a moment. Maybe it was during a cold stretch in the middle of the summer. Maybe it was during the bad fundamental base where they played. Maybe it was the fifth inning of the World Series in the last game. Like there's just a lot of moments. Maybe he's like, damn, Judge is getting older. Garrett Cole is only getting older. Stan is only getting older. We don't have a strong farm system coming up in the leagues right now. We're not going to develop the farm system because at some point we're going to trade for another star because that's the Yankees formula. And respectfully so, I understand it. But maybe that's how he's thinking. Like, damn, like you mentioned, the Mets are having fun. The Mets are playing better. There's more of a Latino inclusivity there. There's more support potentially there. Like, and I'm still staying in New York. Like, why wouldn't I? So that's what I see it. To be honest, I can't
I
blame it.
I agree. I don't blame him at all, and I think that's something that the Yankee fan needs to realize is, bro, wouldn't you jump ship if it was the same situation? Now, here's what bothered me as a fan, as a Yankee fan, is I'm Dominican. We finally have a Dominican player. We've been waiting on this for a while. I invested into him as a fan. I invested into him,
Yeah.
like I went to his figurine night and I was one of the first people online because I wanted to get that Juan Soto figurine. You know what I'm saying? And ask me where it's at right now though. But but shit is in the trash. But I feel like it wasn't personal against the Yankee fans, but the Yankee fans really showed him a lot of love, dude. I don't think I've seen the Yankee fans express that much love. They don't even express that much love towards Garrett Cole. And it's crazy. I don't understand, but I just look at it as like, man, I felt like he kind of played us. I felt like he kind of played us. I felt like he
Oh,
really, I felt like he used us as leverage to drive up the money, and I felt like even though he was a people pleaser. He wanted the Yankee fans to like him, rightfully so, because he's playing for the Yankees at that moment. But I just felt like none of that really mattered to him. I think what mattered to him at the end of the day was the money. And his press conference today just showed me that he was all about the money, bro. The fact that you haven't spoken to the team since the World Series, right after the World Series, not even like nothing. Radio mute just let me know like, hey man, like at the end of the day, dude, like it was business is business. It's nothing personal. And I just felt like, man, he just went about it that way. And guess
tough,
what, bro?
bro. That's
That's
tough
just,
because look at it like this, and you make valid points. If you're a high valuable free agent like him, possibly breaking the record in money and whatnot, like, do you think it's the best idea in your best interest to talk to your former teammates in regards to contract expectations or coming back? Like, that's going to influence your mindset in a whole different way than
I mean,
it's,
if you
it's
fuck with
deriving
them
away from
though,
the game plan, huh?
if you generally had a good connection with your teammates, like you guys were generally friends, like if there was a genuine connection there, then
But
I feel like there should have been at least a little bit of communication. But
yeah, but you also have to consider that he's not a Yankee homegrown talent. Like
that
he
shouldn't
was.
matter though.
It does, bro, because you're coming from an outside organization and you've been on four teams in four different seasons. You're coming from an outside organization. You're basically one of the few players that came from the outside to the whatever the culture or the amount of players that the Yankees have. You're on your best season as a free agent. You have the massive leverage. Like I feel like you have to strongly consider other options too. Like even the reports, like the whole time I kept seeing like instead of the Mets and Yankees reports, I kept seeing, oh, Soto is signing to the Red Sox. That's all I've been seeing for the last two
Oh
weeks.
yeah.
And I'm like, yo, where these rumors come from? Like, is he really gonna go there? And now I question, like, if Yankee fans are this rattled and upset that he signed to the Mets, how would you guys have thought if he went to the Red Sox? That's how I see it. Yeah, you guys would have been losing your minds right now at this point.
I
But
mean, two evils. Regardless, we would have reacted the same way. I mean, because there's a lot there's a lot of people that reacted
but
over the Mets, like him signing over the Mets, and I'm just like, dude, like I
hey,
get it, yeah, we're emotional. I get it right now. I get it.
at
That's
least it's
why
not the
that's why I call the
Dodgers. That's how
72-hour
I feel,
rule.
bro. At least it's not the Dodgers. That's how I feel.
Yeah, at least it's not the Dodgers, because
Yeah,
that would have
yeah,
been like, oh, bro, that would
yeah.
have been different.
But
But
to your point, like Yeah, like he could have had some type of communication, but like it's also like a guy like Aaron Judge. Like I know you're the captain. I know you feel like it's not your place to probably intervene or whatnot. But if you're a captain in New York after the players that you just had, and you sign a long-term contract and you really, really want to win in New York, and you know your best chances to win in New York is with that guy that you just had an amazing dual season with, why wouldn't you try to reach out to him? Why wouldn't you try to influence him? Yo, I know last year the end how things ended, but you know, I believe in us. I think we could carry things around. Next go around, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be different. Maybe the outcome is different. And that changes everything. People forget about the past. Why wouldn't you want that as Aaron Judge? Like, why are you acting so calm and collected about
And
that?
also having probably the best 1-2 punch in the major leagues
Of
too. Like
course,
it
bro. Like,
benefits him just as
of
much, you know.
course.
And
I
that to
just
me is
don't
very
get that.
concerning. It's very concerning. But we're not in the dugout. I put it like this. I think Juan Soto is a phenomenal talent, and I want to dive into the contract a little bit. I think Juan Soto is a phenomenal talent, a great bat. That's one that nobody can argue. I question his character now, and I say that because there was there. Well, I say that because I question things about what happened in the Padres, and now everything that has been coming out with the Yankee organization. I get that we're organizationally flawed. We're not perfect by any means. We have a lot of work to do, but even him just cutting everybody off after the season and just wanting it to be about business or whatever the case is, I don't know. I I think there are questions about his character. That's all. I think there are questions. I don't know him personally. I don't know what his motives are. I think there are questions about it. Um, I think his bat is one that nobody can argue, but I generally think, and this is my personal opinion, I think that offering him that 700 mil, well into 760 mil, I think they overpaid a little bit. What are your thoughts?
I mean, from a numerical point of view, I agree. I think they definitely overpaid, but it had to be done. You know, like it was gonna be a bidding war between the two New York teams. Like the money was gonna surpass Otani regardless. Not saying that he's better than Otani overall, but Otani set that precedent by signing that contract last year with 700 mil, you know? So at that point, you know, records are somewhat meant to be broken. Like, for example, we talk about guys like A-Rod, who had the record twice for contract. If A-Rod was in his prime at 26 right now and putting the numbers that he put up in his era now, he's probably touching $1 billion, bro.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably touching $1 billion. And then we will have another conversation. People will have complaints. Is he worth this? Is he worth that? Why he signed there. Like I don't know, bro. I don't know if I buy that, bro. Because at the end of the day, I do agree that he got overpaid, bro. But it had to be done if you want to secure a player like that, and for a team like the Mets who want to change their narrative and their culture, you have to pay to win, bro. The
It had
Dodgers
to be
do it in
done.
their own
I
way, you
agree.
know. So
Very well said, bro.
you
Very
got to
well
do it,
said.
bro.
I look at it like this. I feel like a more reasonable contract would have been at 700 million. Um, I think I told you that. I think I told you it was like 660. It was like was what was gonna be my number, like 45 million a year,
Yeah.
50 a year, more or less. Um, I think that no matter what contract he would have signed, I worried about his age and I worried about how he's gonna continue to produce as he gets older, because he's gonna be a bona fide DH within 5 years. Like for him
Five
to,
years.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Damn, bro. Damn. Why?
Well,
Why 5 years?
yeah. Well, I
So
look at it like this.
so you saying at 30, he's already DH at 30, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Nah, bro.
yeah,
Nah. Don't believe that.
yeah. You'll
You
see.
know why?
I'm
You
gonna
know
stay
why I don't
quiet, but
believe
you'll
it?
see.
No, I mean I get the perspective, but I don't believe it because I don't see any other superstar in history that maybe was not five tools or lacked in some areas, and they just moved them just like that in the middle of their prime to a DH role full time. Like besides Stanton, bro, I've never seen that, bro. So to say that, like, I don't think 30 is the number when he's becoming a DH. Maybe a little older, but at 30, like he's still gonna move well. Like I'm not saying he's gonna be a Gold Glove outfielder, but he's still going to be playing out, in my opinion. That's what I think.
Uh, I don't think him being a DH at 31 years old is a bad thing. I really don't think so. I look at it as like you follow the David Ortiz shoe. Like that dude was a hitter no matter what. And I think to maximize Juan Soto as a hitter, have him as DH. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. I don't think that's a shot at Juan Soto. The dude has a great arm, but what good is a great arm if you can't really throw, if you can't really catch? You know, it's kind of like you're kind of try him out at first base too. You know, there's so many different things you could do with him. You know, but it's not a secret that he's not a good defender. He's not. And the thing about him about defensively that worries me is him tracking on the ball when it's dying in front of him.
Yeah,
It's those situations where it's like you need to cover a little bit of ground with your speed and be able to dive and make a good play. And I think that as he progresses throughout his career, I think that he's going to be a little bit slower when it comes down to that, and it might actually cost him a little bit of runs. Also, keep in mind that City Field's right field, where he's projected to play, is bigger than the right field in Yankee Stadium. So again, him being a DH is not necessarily a bad thing. All right, have him be on the bench, have him get stronger. Now you're looking at 50 to 60 home runs. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Um, but yeah, I can see that in 5 years when he's 31, I can see him being ultimately a DH because I can also see Cohen making more moves to get more players. That's the
yeah,
other thing too.
yeah. I think I agree. I do agree that Soto is not a good defender. The only possible thing that I can see work in his favor, yeah, you mentioned Yankee Stadium versus City Field. You know, City Field is a bigger ballpark, more area to cover. I do think the Yankees in general didn't have a good defensive team last year. And I'm not talking about just the players. I'm talking about like the way they're coached, like the defensive alignment, putting the players in the best spot defensively, things like that. And I feel like that in the Mets is not as big as an issue. I also think that if you compare Aaron Judge at center field, he's an about average outfielder. He's much more Gold Glove outfielder than right field. So, for example, if you have a guy like Aaron Judge in center field who's an about average outfielder at center field, and he's not the quickest due to his height and weight. Nothing against him, though. He's amazing. And then you have Soto, who's a bad, below average defender in right field. You're going to tend to likely have more errors and allow more hits in the gap. Whereas, for example, now the Mets, they traded out for Jose Siri, who is a borderline gold glove center fielder, and he's an elite center fielder. And he actually plays center field. I think that can help Soto in terms of covering balls on the side due to range.
And his speed is
And
crazy.
his speed is crazy. So I feel like in the
And
areas that
Nimmo
Soto can
too.
lack, Siri can make up for it. Plus, I feel like in right field and city field, they're gonna make Soto play deeper and play in a certain range within the outfield rather than playing a little shallow sometimes in Yankee Stadium from what I've seen. That's what I think the adjustments that are going to be made.
I think you brought upon good points, but I still believe, and we'll see how it goes. I still
And
believe
and
that,
I like the idea that you said maybe down the line they can explore first base too. I wouldn't mind that either.
or you guys might acquire better defenders too. That's the thing. Is Steve Cohen. Like you
Yeah,
guys really have that possibility now that you guys could possibly 1 year trade for a Gold Glover, like a Kevin Kiermaier. I mean, not right now because he's retired, but I'm saying caliber of
yeah.
players like that that can help you
Yeah.
guys defensively and move. Now you have Gold Glove outfielders, and then you have a DH that's probably the best DH in the game besides Otani. Like you know, it's gonna be great to see. Honestly, bro, him going to the Mets was a great fit. It was a great fit, and
And now that we're talking about this too, I think that you mentioned a point with Cohen. I feel like that's also part of it with Soto, that he knows that the owner he's willing that he's not done here. Like there's probably more pieces on the way. Maybe not this year, but it could be next year or in the foreseeable future. They still have the core intact. They have some promising prospect coming up, and there's also room for them to make a big splash if needed. So I think he may like that flexibility from an ownership to roster flexibility. You know, you want
I
that.
agree. I agree. I agree. I mean, like, they. Sorry, excuse me, my dogs are barking, but the Yankees are like that too. And I'm not trying to compare it, but we've
Hmm.
seen it with the Yankees where depending on the owner or whatever the case is of the year or the player clientele that we have, like we really have the needs to acquire pieces when we need them, you know, at to put us in a better playoff position. And the Mets are definitely going to be doing that now. The other, you mentioned a point earlier where you said that Juan Soto said that he thinks that the future of the Mets is brighter than the Yankees or
Yeah.
because of the prospects or whatever the case is.
I
I
told you that
disagree.
before too.
Yeah, I disagree though. I think the Yankees farm system is better than people think. Think about it. We gave the Padres four pitchers and a catcher. One of them was the minor league pitcher of the year. The other one is the bona fide one or two starter, Michael King. right? And then we gave another pitcher and a catcher and so on, right? We had the capital to make that Juan Soto trade. Now we're in the midst of either acquiring Cody Bellinger or Kyle Tucker, and we still have enough like enough capital, at least in the minor leagues, to help us propose that trade. So I really don't think our minor leagues is that bad. We've done a pretty good job of resetting the farm system after Aaron Judge went to the major leagues. You know, after the Gabriel Torres, after the Gary Sanchez, after the Aaron Judges, we really do have a couple studs in the minor leagues. It's just that they're years away from making the majors right now. They're so incredibly young. I mean, four out of six of them are below the age of 20 or below the age of 21. Jason Dominguez, Roderick Arias, Brandon Maeda, and George Lombard Jr., who was just drafted last year. And
But
yeah,
the player you said that is a minor league player of the year, he did that in the Yankees or in the Padres?
Drew Thorpe was minor league pitcher of the year for the Yankees organization for Somerset Patriots, and then he was traded over to the Padres, and now he's with the Chicago White Sox.
And I'm looking at the numbers. Michael King did well with the Yankees, but his numbers are obviously better as a Padre. So what I bring that up, like, yeah, the Yankees, again, I could be wrong. This is what I see. I feel like the Yankees at some point they do have good talent in the minor league system. Somehow, some way, when they come to the major leagues, I feel like they don't produce to the expectations that we want them to produce. So again, like you may say, oh, our minor league system is not that bad, but there has to be some type of correlation as to why it doesn't translate to success when they get to the big leagues. Like for example, we talk about Anthony Volpe. I like the kid. I want him to be successful, but I feel like he's still behind a bit offensively where he should be at now in terms of solidifying himself. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got guys like Ben Rice. He had 3 home run game and then he fell off after that. You got guys like Oswaldo, what is it, Peraza?
Yep.
Or Cabrera, what is it?
Well, it's Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza.
Well, both of them. Like I feel like I'm hearing about them for the last 2 3 years. They get their little time coming up, and they just don't. So it's like part of it. I understand is also the Yankees as an organization because they also prioritize veteran players. Like for example, like Alex Verdugo, when someone else could have played, things like that. So maybe that hurts their development as they come up in terms of playing time. But they also get used a lot in trade acquisitions to package a deal for a big player in return. So I don't know, bro. I don't see that being in the same ballpark as I would say the Mets prospects in terms of how they're blossoming to be, in my opinion.
I agree, and it's a very valid point, and I think that we need to acknowledge that point. It's very, very true because the track record showed exactly what you just said. And this is my biggest fault about the organization is that when it's time to give our prospects some opportunities, Yankee fans like myself, that it's like, dude, give this young kid a chance. Like you don't know, like you guys supposedly the best organization in MLB, top tier facilities and everything like that. Like you guys are investing to produce this top tier talent. Here comes along this prospect, and you do not play him. Makes absolute no sense to me whatsoever. Oswald Peraza could have been our shortstop right now. He could have been our third baseman right now. But you guys, he hasn't even played this whole year. But when Aaron Judge was chasing 62, he was a starting shortstop, right? And it's like now you go 2 years after that, and he hasn't come back to the majors since. Like you're ruining the kid. You know what I'm
He's only
saying?
getting older.
He's only getting older, and he's in the mind. So, and when you look at it, this is a perfect example. We're known for trading away these prospects for talent, right? Some of these prospects end up being great names. Not great, but good names, like Tyro Estrada, who just signed with the Colorado Rockies. Solid fielder. We needed him when we ended up having IKF. You know, like
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Ezekiel Duran, Texas Rangers. He won a championship with the Rangers. He played a key part in the championships. He came from the Yankees organization. JP Sears, one of the best pitchers on the Oakland Athletics right now. So it's like we have Michael King is gonna be a stud pitcher, bro, and he came from the Yankees organization. But what
yeah.
we do, we trade them away, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves about the organization. Sometimes we have the talent. You guys invested so much money into the minor leagues, into these facilities, into making these players a lot better. And when it's finally their turn to reach the major leagues, you're not gonna give them a chance. So again, I would argue we do have good prospects. We just do bad managing them once it's their time to be in the majors, and we ruin them that way. It's like
So
literally,
so can you see why Soto may look at it from that perspective? Like, yo, I don't think it's the same in terms of the future. You know what I mean?
yeah, I understand your point. That's what I'm saying. I think it was it's an a point. Excuse me, it was a point that we had to acknowledge because our track record shows that exactly is the case. But I don't necessarily think our pipeline is not as optimistic. I think that we're gonna finally turn the corner. I mean, look at it, dude. Like we've been under audit since last year. The audit was supposed to be a year in, and this is something that Yankee fans is like they don't remember shit, dude. Like when they want to go ahead and get Kyle Tucker, I'm like, cool. Kyle Tucker's an awesome player, very comparable to Juan Soto, actually, right? Somebody might even argue that he's even better, you know? But I look at it like this. You're going to trade, right? I want to dive into that really quickly. But you would want to trade for Kyle Tucker for 1 year. And Kyle Tucker knows, again, his numbers are very comparable to Juan Soto's numbers, right? Mind you, he only played half the year last year, but he has a better glove. He doesn't accumulate as many walks, but batting average and home runs are definitely is comparable. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm saying that it's very comparable, right? Outfielder and everything. So you would want to trade for Kyle Tucker, right? Trade all our minor league capital, George Lombard Jr., future Yankee infielder, first round pick, and so on, right? You want to trade for these players, right? And then what happens? What happens if Kyle Tucker doesn't want to resign? Again, so now you're saying that we traded 4 to 5 players for Juan Soto and another 4 to 5 players for Kyle Tucker, and we ended up keeping none of them. But Yankee fans are very quick to forget. Yankee fans are extremely quick to forget, and that's one thing I don't like. It's like, dude, this is so impulsive. The only way I'm making that trade is if there's an extension that comes along with it. I'm not
Yeah,
making that
yeah,
same mistake twice. Juan
yeah.
Soto was a risk that we needed to take, and essentially he
And
did
that
what
went
he
over
had to
and
do.
almost got it done, you
We
know?
almost got it right, and that was the purpose of it, was to get us back to the World
Yeah,
Series, and he did that. He did his part, bro.
he
You know what
did
I'm
his
saying?
part.
So it's like I'm not making that Kyle Turkin trade unless it's an extension. I'm not giving up that capital because we're gonna need that capital.
I like that you
We need those minor leaguers.
I like that you bring up the point, like, yo, like you don't possibly want to get burned twice back to back years. I
Yeah.
do think
But Yankee
against
fans are
your
like, nah,
point,
get him now. And it's like,
and
yo, pero cógelo
feel
suave.
and I feel like Yankee fans are very emotional, overreactive because they want to now overcompensate for losing Juan Soto. And I think if the Yankees go with this mentality and we have to make up for his loss, I think it may be more detrimental than helpful later on, in my opinion. I do think they do need to get multiple players, and it's okay. Like if they don't happen to have the best team next year, but they know it's not the best team, and they tell the fans it's not the best team, I think that's okay. The issue is that they selling fans a dream and they're not guaranteeing that it can happen, you know, and that's where it becomes frustrating as a fan. You know what I mean?
And also keep in mind that Juan Soto came to the Yankees during the audit, and people forgot about that. We were so bad the year before that the Yankees hired an outside company to audit the team and their analytics, right? To make sure that everything was going to be done proper and that the audit was going to be there for the entire year. We're still within that year. We still
Yeah,
have a lot of things that we need to fix within the organization, like for real. And people are over here want to jump the gun and get Kyle Tucker. Nah, man, I look at it like this. Long like long run, this is what I would want the Yankees to do. I think that Cody Bellinger makes a lot of sense just because he can fulfill multiple positions, and he's within that age of he's younger than Judge, so it's like as Judge gets older, Cody Bellinger could still more or less contribute to the team and be like that veteran as well. So I feel like Cody Bellinger makes a lot of sense, and I'm not looking at him to produce like Juan Soto. I'm looking at him to fulfill multiple spots. You can play outfield, you can play first base, and you can run the bases. You can play good defense, and you're a lefty bat. That to me sounds like a greater upgrade than Alex Verdugo,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think that we have a lot of holes in the bullpen. I think we made a phenomenal trade where we traded away one of our catchers last night for a pitcher from the Boston Red Sox who has electric stuff. I think that was a good sign as well.
yeah,
But we still have a lot of holes to fill. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I want us to make smart decisions, smart baseball decisions. And I think that the Yankee fans need to really do be patient. Like, yeah, we just made the World Series right now. We gotta, we're still right there, but there's a lot of holes right now that we need to fill. So essentially, it's not gonna be the same team coming back, right? I think that right now we need to take a year or two to develop the prospects. I think people need to stay patient with Jason Dominguez. He's gonna have a full year now being with the Yankees. Also, Spencer Jones, who is the lefty Aaron Judge. Brian Cashman made a good point saying that this dude is 6'7", has tremendous speed, and similar to Aaron Judge. If you look at Aaron Judge's minor league stats, they were not that good. They were not that good. Aaron Judge's best years came when he developed into the major leagues, and I think the same thing can happen with Spencer Jones. I just think that the Yankee fans need to be patient. I think that there are a lot of flaws that we need to correct, and I think that right now more than ever, Aaron Judge needs to step up in terms of his leadership within the organization, as well as Garrett Cole. I just feel like right now it's fine with going back into underdevelopment, but still yet competitive. But we
Question,
need to do better as an organization.
question. Is Spencer Jones in AAA right now?
He's in Double A. He finished the year in Double A. I think a lot of fans expecting him to be at Triple A, but he did struggle a lot with the strikeouts, mind you. Very Aaron Judge ish. He bats upright. He's six
Yeah,
seven, bigger
yeah,
strike zone.
yeah,
So it's one of those where it's like he needs to adjust. He needs to adjust. So I
yeah.
was cool with the fact that he stayed in Double A last year. I
Okay.
hope that this year he starts off in AAA. He starts off hot. He could be in the majors by July, August. Sounds like a good playoff run to me.
What about Jason last year? When he came back from injury, he was in AAA as well?
So he was in AAA, so he had an oblique injury, and that's what messed him up. When you try to come back from an oblique injury, it does take a lot of time because you use your abdomen to torque on the ball as you're swinging. So it does take a little bit of time for you to come back. Um, and I think that when he came back, obviously a little bit of rust, maybe a little bit of nerves. He was fucking up with the Yankees or so on. So I think that now he's gonna be prepared. I mean, he didn't play at all in the World Series. I don't know about you, but if I don't play in the World Series, I'm coming back. Excuse me, I'm coming back next year with a vengeance.
I feel like if I was a Yankee fan and if I also was in the Yankee organization, I would make it a priority for him to be my opening day roster as a starter in the outfield. Jason
Uh,
Dominguez.
yeah, I'm no, of course. I think he's a
Like
lock.
I think it has to be now, bro. It
Yeah,
has to be now.
it's a lock. It's a lock. Spencer Jones is not though, and that's what I'm saying. I think that having
No, you
somebody
can
like a
wait
Cody
another year
Bellinger,
and change maybe.
yeah.
But
Well,
Jason for sure, like if they want to change the guard and give him a try, it has to be now. Like it's okay if they don't got a left fielder and make him the left fielder, or if he's gonna play center field. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Um, but I would like to see him play the whole year. Like it's Jason time, you know what I mean? Like you guys invested so much in him. I've been hearing about him for a long time at this point. Like I want to see him play, you know. So I think that should be a priority. I think a priority should also be decide: are you keeping Jazz at third? Are you keeping Jazz at second? If based on your decision there, do you fill the hole in the other position that he's not going to play? That's what I think.
I
Another
mean,
thing they should consider.
there's a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions that we still need answers to. Like we're gonna pivot from this from the Juan Soto thing, but there's a lot of holes to be filled, man. Before we wrap this episode up, is there anything else that you want to say or mention?
Yeah, quickly. The Yankees recently signed Max Fried, 8-year deal, I believe, over 200 plus million. I believe it's the largest contract ever for a left-handed starter, and I think it's pretty up there for a starting pitcher as well. What are your thoughts on it? What does that mean for the Yankees? Did the
Yeah.
Yankees overpay? And then I have
Uh,
another question after that.
well, we could talk about it in our next episode, episode 30.
Mhm.
We could talk about what's going on with the winter meetings and stuff like that. But quick
Yeah,
take, I think the Max Fried deal is actually just right. I don't feel like we overpaid. We gave him $27 million a year. That is, I believe, a slightly above Carlos Rodon and under Garrett Cole. I think he's a reliable starter who's had a subpar 3 ERA throughout his career, has a great arsenal, great sinker. Not a swing and miss guy, but more of ground outs. But here's the thing, man. If you have a pitcher that's gonna be having a lot of ground outs, then who do we have to catch the ball? Like we don't have nobody.
yes, we talked about that before too. Like they have to overcompensate in the defensive metrics to accommodate him to have success. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's like I trust Josh Chisholm, I trust Anthony Volpe, but we still have two major infield positions that need to be filled, and who's that going to be? So, on a quick note, I mean, we're gonna dive into it in the next episode, but I think the Max Fried thing was pretty. was a good deal. One I didn't really see coming, but after I really started looking at it, I feel like it made a lot of sense for us as Garrett Cole slightly declines. Having somebody like him be like that 1 and 2. He's a lefty, different arsenal. I think he's gonna age well. A lot of his arsenal reminds me of Cliff Lee. I used to love Cliff Lee. I used to love the arsenal of Cliff Lee, and I feel like he gives us a lot of that. Very Andy Pettit-ish, maybe. I just felt like he was the two I didn't know we needed because I always wish that Carlos Rodon was going to be that too, and he hasn't been. But
Um, I think it's a good signing, bro. I think that
underrated signing, and no, I don't think they overpaid.
I think what I would have done differently only in regards to the signing is maybe a little less years and more annual average, you know? Um, Only
Yeah,
because he'll be like somewhere around 38 by the time this is done. Or I could have done an offer where I do like 6 years plus two player options, for example. Maybe. But other than that, I think it's a great signing. I think it's a great number two for your rotation. I think he fills the holes and lowers the expectations for the others. I do still have concerns with Rodon, but we can speak about it later on. He has to step up at some point though. Like no more fucking around. I think. I think it's time. That's Zucker's test. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Um, Clark Smith, he looked pretty good last year, so he's likely more than likely in the rotation. You got Rookie of the Year, Luis Gill too, so he's likely to be your number three starter unless he gets traded. Um, my next question briefly is now what do you do with Strowman's contract?
we
Because it
we
doesn't
gotta we
look
gotta we gotta save all that for the next episode. We dive in deep.
but just to let the
Yeah,
juices flow, you see where like
a
now
lot of
that can be an
questions.
issue. That can be an issue because he's likely not going to be the starter in that rotation.
I've never seen such a team that has gotten so many answers, yet we still have so many questions.
And then
Like,
something to think about for the next episode. It's like my issue with the Yankees too. I feel like, and that comes from up top. Like it's a lot of misuse money that they've given out over the years in contracts that have gone horribly. And it's like, damn, you could have saved that money for a better player if you waited an extra year or whatever, you know? Like guys like Machado, guys like Harper, who were free agents several years ago, you know? You signed guys like DJ LeMay, whose contract aged horribly. Then that's just an example. And there's other players too, like Josh Donaldson and whatnot, you know? So
just
something
throwing
to
money
think about.
away.
Huh?
We just throwing money
They
away.
store money away, and it's like, damn, like you could use this money more efficiently. But as you said, we can speak more thoroughly about in the next episode. Uh, Thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe, like, share. I hope you guys enjoyed this Juan Soto conversation. I feel like this is a monumental shift, as I said earlier, to the Mets culture. I feel like this is the first time that the Yankees organization has felt this from their crosstown rivals in their history, like where they felt like, damn, these guys
From the
really can
MLB.
for us.
Look at the Dodgers. Like from the
Yeah,
MLB
like
in general. Like
this is the first time this that our neighbors or little bros can actually match up with us or surpass us. Like you
they're
know,
not little bros no more, bro. They're not
so
little bros no more.
I think the energy. Lastly, my projections. I think the energy in the field and the air next year is going to be drastically different. I do think there's going to be more bandwagon Mets fans, but it's okay. More blue and orange representation, you know. And I think I'm gonna find a way to go to more games next year, even though they're gonna be pretty hefty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But thank you guys
But
for watching the
again,
300 Club
thank you
podcast.
guys. Episode 29. My name is Gil. This is Kelvin. Sign us out, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for watching
It's your turn.
the thank you guys for watching the 300 Club podcast. My name is Colvin. This is Gil. Shout out to the Mets for signing Juan Soto. Yankees got a lot of things to work on. So, nonetheless, we'll be coming back at you guys very, very soon for episode 30. We're going to be discussing all of the hot stove moves, a lot of the other offseason moves that have taken place. Blake Snell, Luis Severino, former Met, former Yankee as well. Max Reed will talk deeper into that and all that good stuff, all the rumors, Cody Bellinger, Nolan Arenado, and so on. So thank you guys for watching.
You know, we
Yeah, you
out
like
here.
that one?
Hey.